I'm like, this girl was so nice. She's part of like this religious group. She sounds like she's from a cult. Hey guys, TazzyPhe here. How is it going? I feel like many times people who believe in or practice a religion are written off as backwards, narrow-minded, and although I do not agree, I can understand how people come to that conclusion. But the specific criticism that I think is a very reductive one is the idea that people who practice a religion are less intelligent than people who don't. This is a clip where internet sensation Brittany Broski talks about how moving to LA led her to no longer believing in what she grew up with religiously.
I talk about it online and my parents and family do not like it.
They think you're going to hell.
Well, they think that LA's changed me.
You've missed God's presence in a way at all?
I miss the innocence of being stupid.
Right.
Totally, because it's like there's an answer to stuff.
Right.
Now, when I see this clip, I think we all live in bubbles, and sometimes you go from one bubble to the next. And LA is just another bubble where believing in religion, unless it's trendy, or God, is not seen as cool.
It's not popular in my industry. But, you know, I cannot deny my faith.
And maybe Brittany is talking about something very specific, like a specific aspect of what's associated with people who believe in God. But we be making some broad blanket statements all the time on social media because that's what the internet loves. That's what works. Okay, people eat that shit up. But when people make these blanket statements about so many people, it feels like they're trying to convince themselves that they are intellectually superior to all these other people. And maybe I'm just reading into all of this too much. I actually like Brittany Broski, so, you know, I'm not taking this personally. I'm just saying this is something I've been thinking about. So I would argue that, you know, just because someone is religious, it doesn't mean that they're stupid or naive in general. Belief is a huge spectrum that is not just like black and white as people make it seem. And it's actually ironic to oversimplify religions to make the point that they are for people who are simple-minded, if that makes any sense. But I think what people actually intend to criticize when they're saying religious people are stupid is something else. Because being devout and being religious does have positive effects on people as well and their lives as a whole. There are parts of yourself and your mind that can be unlocked the more you become religious or the more you dive into, you know, certain aspects of your spirituality, right? And there are 8 different types of intelligence. So when a research comes out saying that IQ is lower in religious people, what are they using to measure that? And some may argue that IQ tests are not very accurate, but then what else is there? So I had this clip in initially, but I had to take it out because of copyright. But basically, if you want to go watch this video, it debunks IQ tests and it talks about how it was initially invented for French kids in kindergarten to see how well they're doing in school. And so they say, a cigarette is to lunch as wine is to recess. Muslims would definitely get that wine question wrong. Okay, already they're out. But now if we're looking at other kinds of intelligence, someone could argue, well, maybe religious people have way more kinesthetic intelligence after fighters from Dagestan like Khabib show that. Now you got Joe Rogan saying this.
Some of the most disciplined people that I know are very religious. It's really fascinating, particularly fighters. Like a lot of the Islamic fighters out of Dagestan. They're some of the most dominant fighters and some of the most religious fighters, so devout.
Now, Johnny Harris, I watched a podcast episode from him as well, and he talks about this concept of discipline and how, you know, being part of the Mormon church was a paradox for him because he got these like great things from it, but also at the same time, he got a lot of religious trauma from it and doesn't really feel like a lot of the things that he did while he was in the church were ethical.
And this is a really difficult paradox with my whole relationship with the church. The church is to be credited with a lot of the like lifestyle disciplines that I really believe in. And yet the church is also responsible for a lot of shame and trauma. My whole world was opened up. Yeah. And yet my mandate during those 2 years was to one way or another pressure people into joining the church. And I did pressure. I pressured people and sometimes manipulated people.
So, you know, discipline is not the same thing as intelligence, but it is important for making it through in this world. Okay, in order to succeed, you have to have some sort of discipline. And I think that the people who, this is just me saying, this is not backed by data or anything, but I think people who are more disciplined tend to do better in the world. But during his interview, I think he touches on fundamentalism or orthodox ideologies, which I'll get into a second here. But maybe discipline has nothing to do necessarily with intelligence. Those are 2 separate things. So when people are calling religious people stupid, maybe they're saying that believing in all these unbelievable things that happen to a prophet, or, you know, believing in this higher power, this being, is stupid to them in their mind.
I've met some really intelligent Christians, don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's certain people that are just really dumb And they really aren't capable of thinking about deep shit. They're not capable of pondering the really insane question of what the fuck this life is. They're not capable of. It's almost like it's structured to make the idiots like have a really simple moral path. Like, it gives you a nice little story.
So you have all of these social structures. You have a God structure that's like, you're bad if you do this. And it helps create large groups of people behaving in these rigid ways. All Orthodox religions know this.
But I think many times when people are trying to point at religious people for being stupid, they're pointing out things that maybe they hate about groupthink. Okay, what happens when these big groups of people start to just like mob mentality, right? Or like fundamentalism, you know, or shame structures, or even people getting swept up into cults and cult-like behavior. Because I think when people stray away from like this middle path, they really start to go into these areas where I don't think it's that easy for people to discern whether what they're doing is very smart. Or not. So if we say religious people are stupid, considering the markers of IQ or what society deems as intelligent, you would think that smart people would definitely not be looped into extreme fringe groups, if anything. Like, forget just regular religion, like, you know, a group like the Branch Davidians, which was a religious group that originated from a schism of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. But Douglas Wayne Martin was a Harvard-educated lawyer, and he was a member of the Branch Davidians, and he died during the siege, that very famous thing that happened in Waco. I mean, he was one of the 76 people who died in that fire that engulfed the compound when the FBI attempted to end the standoff. There's a Netflix series, I think, on it. I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but if any of you guys are into cult things or enjoy it, I like watching cult stuff. But the funny thing is, I actually feel like I would be very susceptible to being culted into. Yeah. My husband is the opposite, so it's really great I married him, because anytime I'm like, oh, I went to this like cool like thing today, like group meditation, he's like, that sounds like a cult. I'm like, this girl was so nice. She's part of like this religious group. She sounds like she's from a cult. He keeps me in line. But yeah, the Branch Davidians is an extreme example, okay, when we're getting into cults and all that. But like, even just religious people in general, okay? If we're talking about like IQ and like smart people, I mean, there are countless people like that, okay? And, you know, we can talk about from the Muslim world. Imam al-Ghazali, he was a Muslim theologian, philosopher, and jurist who lived in the 11th and 12th centuries. And he's considered one of the most important scholars in Islamic history. And his works on theology and philosophy continue to be studied and debated today. But there are so many people who are highly intelligent and influential religious figures. So to act like those who are devout are less smart or have small minds, or hey, this study showed that they have lower IQ, I feel like ironically all of that is pretty small-minded. But around the world, religion is in decline. In places like Turkey, America, Iran, the Middle East, younger people are less likely to identify with religion. It is happening. But the factors behind that, I'm not exactly sure. Like, in America, some people think it's due to higher education, but the data also shows that people leave religion before they even get to that point in their lives. So personally, I don't think that it has something to do with intelligence or IQ. I think that there are probably other factors like socialization or upbringing and, you know, the environment that you grow up in, globalization, the internet, or maybe even a shift towards technology. Now, this is the part where I'm going to stray away from the Googling and the research and dive a little bit more into abstract in my own mind and my own, like, I'm not going to be referencing things, okay? I don't personally think that moving away from religion means that we're getting smarter. I think there were definitely things that ancient people possessed that were way greater than what we have. You know, I think they had greater capabilities with their mind and intellect. And that may sound stupid to some of you, but if you believe in any sort of religion or spirituality, I think nowadays we're very much pulled away from using our own minds in a very spiritual or meditative way to their full capacity. You know, we have lowered attention spans and we're constantly numbing ourselves through screen time and technology, and we're so heavily influenced at such a rapid rate. All the messaging and media we are constantly like bombarded with, sometimes it's really hard to know how we even think or how we really feel. And so I definitely don't think that religious people are stupid simply because they're religious or because they believe in a god. Like, if they are stupid, it's just because they're stupid. But that's just my take. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments below. I am afraid of the type of energy that I'm drawing to this video. Like, please be polite, okay? I didn't sit here and say atheists are trash, okay? But people love to be like that in my comments, like about Muslims and whatever. Like, so freaking rude, bro. Really, like, be quiet, like, chill out. You guys need to like relax on the caffeine. You guys be taking too much caffeine. Okay, Americans drink way too much coffee. But I mean, I get comments from all over the globe. But yeah, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts in a polite manner down below on how you feel about religion, IQ. I don't know if I want to know if you think religious people are stupid, but you know, if you can calmly explain like your thought process behind it, that's fine. But please don't start arguments. Actually, this video is probably going to start arguments. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. TazzyPhe out. Bye. Oh.